Welcome to the tool review channel. Today we're taking a look at the commercial electric 7-inch diagonal cutting pliers. Now for those of you not familiar with the commercial electric brand, this is a Home Depot exclusive brand. This is Home Depot's brand of electrical tool. And I decided to pick these up after picking up those tool shop heavy duty diagonal cutters from Menards just to see if these were, worth spending money on. So I decided to pick them up to try them out and see how well they work. So as you can see right here, you have the green dipped handles. You have the commercial electric logo laser etched onto the surface of the plier as well. And then you do have, it is kind of angled. They did grind it on an angle, so if you needed to, get under something, you could do it. So there is that as well. And then coming to this side, you can see your rivet on this side. Now the rivet, it obviously isn't super close to the cutting edge, so you're not going to be cutting through very thick material with this. It's mainly going to be for light material. And as you can see, this is about as far as they will open. And then obviously they close all the way as well. And as you can see, the cutting edge, you can't really see through it. So I'm hoping you can kind of see through it at the top. They don't kind of meet. But other than that, you really can't see through the cutting edge. So let's see what these can and can't cut through. So we're going to first start off with a piece of 18 gauge solid wire and see if we can cut through that. And as you can see, we are able to cut through that 18 gauge solid wire, no problem whatsoever. So now we're going to bring in some 18 gauge stranded wire and see if we can cut through that. And as you can see, didn't quite cut it through all the way, but you are able to cut the 18 gauge stranded wire, no problem whatsoever. So we'll go ahead and set that guy off to the side, and we will bring in some 14 gauge stranded wire and see how well we can cut through that. So we'll bring in our 14 gauge wire and we'll go ahead and cut through that, and as you can see, we are able to cut through that 14 gauge stranded wire, no problem whatsoever. So now we'll bring in some 14 gauge solid wire and see how well we can cut through that. And as you can see, we are able to cut through that 14 gauge solid wire, no problem whatsoever. So go ahead and set that guy off to the side. And we will bring in some 12 gauge stranded wire right here and see if we can cut through this. So we are able to cut through that 12 gauge stranded wire, no problem whatsoever. So we'll go ahead and set that guy off to the side. And we will bring in some 12 gauge solid wire and see if we can cut through this. A little bit harder to cut through than the stranded wire, but as you can see, these are able to cut through it, no problem whatsoever. So we'll go ahead and stick that off to the side, and we'll bring in our final wire, or I should say one of the final wires, which is the 10 gauge stranded wire. So we'll go ahead and see if we can cut through that. And as you can see right there, you are able to cut through that 10 gauge stranded wire, no problem whatsoever. And we'll bring in our another wire right here, which is a 18.5 thermostat wire, which also has some insulation that can be a little bit tricky to cut through. So we'll see if these diagonal cutters can cut through that. And as you can see right there, we're able to cut through that. Thermostat wire, no problem whatsoever. So overall, these are definitely a nice pair of diagonal cutters from Commercial Electric. If you're just getting into the industry, or if you're looking for an inexpensive pair of diagonal cutters that maybe you're not going to use that often, these are definitely a nice alternative to look at purchasing. If you want something that's relatively inexpensive for something that's not really going to get used a lot, or if you're new to the industry and you're just starting out and you don't have a big budget for tools, these are definitely going to be able to get the job done for the most part. Obviously, when you're going to be cutting multiple conductors at once, them being 7 inches, you're not really going to have a lot of leverage, and you're definitely going to struggle a little bit to get through multiple wires at one time if that's what you're using to cut them through. But as you can see, they're able to cut through those wires, no problem. So if you need to cut some zip ties or whatever, some plastic or something like that, cutting it jaw should have no problem whatsoever getting through that as well. But that's really about it for the review of these Commercial Electric 7-inch diagonal cutting pliers. Now this is exclusive to Home Depot, so you should be able to head to your local Home Depot and head to the electrical section, and you should be able to find these no problem whatsoever. But that's really about it for this video. So if you can't find them at your local Home Depot, or if you're just not sure where to look, I will leave a link to them down in the description below, and it should take you right over to Home Depot's website, and should tell you where they are at your local Home Depot if you are looking to pick these up. But that's really about it for this video. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. And as always, if you are new to the channel and you aren't yet subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button if you would like to see more content like this. And if you did enjoy the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up as well. But that's all I have. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video to be uploaded.